Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live with Lynn. And today we have Clay Buck joining us.
Hello.
And we are so excited for all of you to be here. As per usual, we always have a question of the week that we get started on before we jump into like your fundraising questions and everything. And Clay Buck is from TCB Fundraising, and he also started the fundraising planner, the fundraisers planner. And Ashley will drop the link in the chat for you all. Feel free to drop in, say hello from wherever you are. I, of course, am on island. Clay is joining us from Las Vegas, where it is currently snowing or icing or something in the atmosphere, and it's not a Chinese balloon.
Precipitating.
It's precipitating.
Yes.
And it's cold precipitating, though,
Yes.
in Vegas.
Yes. Which is
right.
weird.
Right. Super weird.
for us.
Did you see, before we get into our question, did you see the Goodyear blimp and it had on the side, "Not Chinese, don't shoot"?
No.
Thought that was funny. Favorite item in your office or must-have office supply? Since you're the man of the planner, what is your favorite office supply or office item, your must-have?
Wow. That's a good and fair question. You know what? For me, honestly, it's good ink pens.
Okay.
I'm still a little old school. And I still use pen and paper. I am working on being more digital with my iPad that I've tried to pick up, and I can't.
I like a Rocketbook. I can't get down with an iPad yet. But I have these pens are my favorite American pens. And then the Uniball, all Uniballs, basically.
Uniball, yes.
And this is my Japanese Pen Tech. I picked up a bunch of pens in Japan, and so I've got some. I also have some multicolored Uniballs here.
Nice.
I also love a fine tip Sharpie every now and again.
Yep.
But I won't tolerate. I have them, but I won't use them, and that is clicky pens.
Nope.
So this is from my friends at the Hawaii Community Foundation. I keep it because they gave it to me, and I'm really fond of them. This I stole from the Cosmopolitan there in Vegas. I don't use clicky pens because I can't stand the noise. So the official DRG pen is a twist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Now, I hear Kevin, right? And I got to be honest, I keep a blue and a black pen, Uniball, both, because they do different things. You do certain work in blue and certain work in black. I do prefer blue over black. I'm with Kevin, but I have both because, right?
Now, I, of course, do the signature color of the company, which is green.
Lovely.
Look at this pen tip. It's so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then when I was in Japan, I splurged a little and got myself one of them there.
Ooh.
German with green. But not like one of the $300 ones. Like this was like $20. Yeah.
Nice.
It's from Itoya. Itoya is like their stationery store on steroids there in Japan.
Fancy.
So now my significant person bought me a Moleskine pen. Now those are nice as well. But
I have not seen their pens.
Yes.
I do love their notebooks.
Well, he got me a personalized notebook too, but
lovely.
Good gift giver. Yes. Now, indeed. Okay, and that pen helps you write in your planner that you came up with. Tell everybody a little bit about the planner because it is so pretty.
Well, thank you. And so the planner came about. So my colleague and friend And we have worked at the same organization, and we were both president of AFP chapters, and blah, blah, blah. Veronica Seymour and I were talking one day because we both have a shelf of empty blank notebooks and planners that we start and then never use. But we said, gosh, the problem with planners is they aren't designed for fundraisers. Wouldn't it be great if there were a planner for fundraisers? And we kept having this idea, and then we finally said, fine, we'll create one. So we did, the Fundraisers Planner. And so it's your pretty standard planner, right? Paper, printed, but we put in fundraising prompts and advice. So like there's pages to track your fundraising goals and help define your fundraising goals and track your metrics and all of those good things, along with your daily to-do list. So to the best of our knowledge, it is the only planner and time management system that is created specifically for fundraisers and nonprofit folks.
I love this.
We did want it to be nice. So it's 8 by 10 and it's a linen hardbound cover, and the paper is
sexy things.
Acid free, so it doesn't bleed and all of that. And like you could walk into a meeting with it and impress people and track your stuff and do all kinds of cool things.
We at DRG are going to have to do some sort of gratitude or donor relations planner or something along. We're just going to have to collaborate and do that with you because we're just going to have to do that.
And you inspired us, Lynn, because on the monthly plan page, there is a section that says 5 donors or 10 donors, I think it is, that I will thank this month, right?
Yeah.
5 or more donors that I will contact this month. 3 or more stewardship activities or random acts of gratitude I will complete this month. And that's part of the plan.
We always heavily influence our friends.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. We love to influence. It is one section in the fundraising planner. So Clay and I share a fondness for to-dos and action items and things like that. So the planner helps keep you organized. What's going on out there, folks, in your fundraising world? So Clay is not just one of my BFFs, but we have a big announcement today, which I'll save for another 10 or 15 minutes. I'll make you all wait. But Clay, tell everybody what's the you work with clients all over Canada, United States, all over, and you're a speaker, but what kind of client work is your favorite kind of client work to do?
My favorite, and the one that I do the most of, and that personally I get the most satisfaction of, and that I see the biggest results from, is I think the best, simplest phrase to use is data-informed strategy setting. In other words, taking a deep look at data and results, and then using that to define what strategy we move forward, whether it's the fundraising and solicitation strategy, the stewardship strategy, to create that whole fundraising plan out of what our history and our data, both the metrics and the quality, tell us that we can do.
Rock on. So Clay works with people. He's a hidden data nerd, a snack aficionado. We're both snack aficionados.
It's true.
And so if you have questions in the fundraising realm, Clay is also a direct mail expert. He writes a lot of direct mail messaging and stuff like that, and it does deep dives into databases. But if you have questions for either of us, this is your hour to chat us up, to really engage, to let us know what's going on in your fundraising world, how we can help, and kind of what are the quandaries, what are the things that you're facing. Sorry, I just saw somebody walk by my house with like a plate of barbecue. It's a national holiday here in Cayman. And so he just made ribs. Hello. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, excuse me. So that could be my snack for the day. But what's happening in your world? What kind of questions do you have for us? We are here to help support you. And so while we're waiting for some questions to come in the chat so that I can bore you with brilliant answers that I came up with on the spot, Clay, why don't you tell everybody like what we've been doing in the background and what you and I have been working on together?
So the big epic announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so and Lynn, can I put you on the spot just a little bit to sort of play along
Sure.
here, because there's a lot of things that you and I say both publicly and to each other about fundraising, right? Fundraising is hard. Fundraising is wonderful. Fundraising is exciting, and above all, fundraising is what?
It's hilarious. It's funny.
It's funny.
It's laugh or cry.
So it is. And some of the things that we do, you guys ever had that experience where you go home or you're out with friends and you're telling them about your day and they're looking at you like, what? No, that's not possible. And
Mm.
you just have to laugh about it. So we thought maybe we'd make that a thing. And, yeah, I don't know why I'm holding it. So coming very soon
March
to your
15th.
favorite podcast platform, the Lynn Wester and T. Clay Buck Fundraising is Funny podcast.
We are so excited that we're bringing you a podcast. It's on the We Are for Good network.
Yep.
We partnered with John and Becky and Julie and Abby and the whole team there because we don't like to do the hard work. We're just the talent. We're just funny. And they are lifting up our platform thanks to our friends at Bloomerang and iWave and Give Butter and MSP. They are bringing about our podcast, Fundraising is Funny. And y'all, we spent some time in a very cold location and recorded, I think, 10 episodes already. And I laughed, I cried, I ate snacks. It was epic. Each one is 20 to 25 minutes. So something you could do on your commute, or maybe while you're picking up your kids from carpool, or if you do that exercise thing that people do, you could listen to the podcast. But we are so excited to bring this to you. We're even going to have our own website, our own social channels. We're like going all in, and the brand is super cute. Like, they're really doing a great job. So mid-March is our official launch. We're very, very excited. And if you have Fundraising is Funny stories you want us to talk about, send them on and we'll tell your stories too, because we have so many stories about Fundraising is Funny, but also something you can learn from, just a little. But 80% entertainment.
80% entertainment. And we're kind of thinking of it and sort of approached it because we wanted it to be a place of joy. And, kind of like if you ever go to a conference or a chapter meeting or whatever, and you get together and you like sharing stories with friends, and you know how it is like when you're with other fundraisers and you can all just kind of let your hair down. Or whatever, for us follically challenged, and that space where you can just be around other fundraisers and share that, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, and what do we do? But we're also kind of thinking of it, if anybody remembers the show Car Talk from NPR, it's a little bit like that. There's a lot of laughing, there's a lot of jokes, and some Lynn and me stuff, right?
Yeah, hilarious. We're very excited. So Clay, we have some wonderful questions pouring in. And please keep your questions coming. And thanks to those of you wishing us well. I thought I would never do a podcast again. This is me going never say never. But the idea came to us, and then we got so much support from the community. So also, if you're going to AFP International in New Orleans in April, we will be there. And we will have Fundraising is Funny merch and all kind of, Car Talk is what we were thinking about. So Clay, we have our first question from Christina. So they started their giving day today. It's giving day season here. Most universities and hospitals do giving days in the spring as a complement to Giving Tuesday in the November area. But so we're heavy into giving day. I gave to Auburn's Giving Day today. Colby's running one, like so many people, Pittsburgh, all kinds of things. So Christina started their Giving Day today. She said, something I would really like us to implement for next year is the option to use PayPal as a payment method. But I am told we can't because platforms like that don't comply with tax regulations. Can anyone who uses that help with how they manage the tax requirements there? And so I'm going to let Clay speak on this, but Christina, I gave to Auburn today and they accept PayPal as well as credit cards. Most giving sites do. So I'm not sure who informed you of that misnomer.
Yeah.
PayPal, it's not PayPal that deals with the tax requirements. It's you as the nonprofit.
And I just did a little Googling as I saw that question come up because I sort of went, huh. And that's what I'm getting to as well. Most every nonprofit that I work with includes PayPal as an option for payment on their giving page or however they do it, which I think is phenomenal, right? Because who wants to go look up their credit card anymore?
Unless you have it memorized.
Right, there you go. So yeah, it really is on the nonprofit side and how you process it on your side to deal with the tax implications of it and how it's receipted and all of that. But no, there shouldn't be any problem with using PayPal as the
Apple
payment
Pay.
processor. And yeah, Apple Pay is another good one.
Venmo.
Yep.
And if you look at payment processors like GiveButter, that's my favorite one. And so she said, they said that it does not collect enough donor information like mailing address for tax purposes. You don't have to have a mailing address. So for tax purposes, all you need is an email. The IRS has accepted email since 1993, and taxes can't be filed in the mail. You actually have to file them online in the United States. So you don't need a mailing address for tax purposes. There's no requirement of that. I issue tax receipts all the time with just an email address. So I don't know who's giving you that information, but the greatest source on this is a gentleman named John Taylor. John Taylor Consulting, he is the IRS whisperer here in the United States. And so you don't need a mailing address to issue a tax receipt. So again, and your giving site doesn't even have to have physical address to accept a gift. Credit card companies only require a zip code or a CVV. So again, hopefully someone will, you can give them this information and research. And again, reach out to payment processors. Again, the folks at GiveButter are my favorite, and they would help you through that. So thanks so much for that great question. Hope we are able to help.
Could I add, Lynn, one thing that I am kind of known for saying, and I take a little bit of heat for it, and I'm glad to take it. I am a huge believer that the most or among the most important relationships internally for a fundraiser are with your finance office. So whatever payment processor you use, make sure you're connecting with finance, that they're good with it, that everybody is on board with how this works. And I know some shops are, really separated from finance and others are closer, however that works. Just be sure that in your internal processes and with your finance team that everybody's good with what you're offering and how the money's coming through and all of that.
Yeah, you do. Here's the thing never to do. Do not put up someone's personal Venmo account and then have them write a check to the charity. That's called money laundering and is illegal. So you can't have people accept gifts on your behalf and then filter it through your charity. You have to be very careful through that on your 990. So again, just be really cautious about, so meet with your finance team. But again, there's nothing wrong with going out there and saying, okay, here are the following top 10 charities in the country who accept PayPal. I can't believe that they would be cheating tax code. So they're not, right? So we have a question from Jamie Braun Fisher. She says, I'm new to the nonprofit world.
Yay, welcome.
Welcome. There's probably hummus in your fridge. Yeah. She said she's been tasked with improving her current stewardship plan at their organization. So she says, first question, how often should our mass and mid donors hear from us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused by the word mass. I don't think people that go to church, I don't think you're talking about that mass. I think you're talking about like large
It's
segments.
it's
Yeah.
a standard direct mail term. So
I think
mass,
she says,
yeah,
yeah, she says
wherever we define the mid range, the
Mhm.
mass is anything below that. So say your mid range is 100 to 499, your mass donors are anything
I
below
call
that.
them small and mighty.
There we go. See, yeah, exactly.
That way we don't use terms like low hanging fruit and low level donors and mass,
I'm a
right?
low. Nobody walks around going, "I'm a low end donor," right?
No,
Like, yeah,
small and
agreed.
mighty. So she
Yep,
says we
small
send
and
about
mighty.
5 to 6 appeals each year. What is considered a touch? Do save the dates and invitations to events count as a touch? So, Jamie, here's the thing. We strongly believe in proper ask to thank ratio, meaning that for every time a donor gives you a gift, you should be thanking and reporting impact 7 times before you ask them for more money, right? So you want to think about, if I'm going to ask you for something, I have to be nice and build the relationship and thank you more than I ask, because otherwise you're the needy person who only talks to me when you want something, right? And you got rid of those friends in your life. So here's the question about save the dates and invitations to events. They're very kind and they feel inclusive, but what are you doing there? You're asking me for my time, which is more valuable than my money. I will give you $100 not to spend 3 hours at a banquet or a donor dinner. Like, please, here's $250. Please don't make me come to your luncheon, right? Like, I'd rather watch Netflix. So when you're asking for someone's time, it can be engagement, but you have to make sure that you're being thoughtful about thanking for people's gratitude and giving gratitude and telling impact. So if you're doing 5 to 6 appeals each year and a donor gives once, you want 7 to 8 to 10 different communications with no ask, no envelope, no, can we get more of your time? Can you volunteer? Just, hey, we're grateful for you. And here's what your money did. Clay, what's your take on the whole mass and mid donors?
100% agree with you. Thank and report more than you ask. Identify those places, all those places, whatever channel, whether it's mail, whether it's email, whether it's social, wherever you can say thanks and report back on impact. Absolutely. If you talk to Steven Screen at the Better Fundraising Company, he has measured and tested, the right number of solicitations or touches per year. Jeff Brooks, direct mail expert, same. If you talk with R.R. Donnelly or Lotman or any of the major direct mail firms, they have tested, and most of them are going to say, in terms of direct mail solicitation, somewhere around 9 to 15 times per year. Now, hold on a second, because that makes me panic too, and I'm a direct mail guy, right? What I would say to you, Jamie, is take a dive into your data. And I know you're new to the nonprofit world and improving that stewardship plan. Take a dive into your data. And if you have tracked how many appeals each donor has received on their record, what you can measure is how many touches did they get before they renewed their gift. And that then defines your strategy. So, for example, one organization, I was the individual giving director. And I think we were 8 times a year in terms of solicitations, but we rested if somebody actually responded, and there was a standard monthly acknowledgement, and there was a whole plan in place. We spent 12 months measuring, and what we found was it took 3.8 to 4.3 touches per donor on average for renewal. And that what that told us was, were we communicating enough, or were we communicating too much? And what we actually learned from that was we were communicating a little too much. We didn't need to communicate as much. We saved a little bit of money, targeted our solicitations easier. So as much as I hate to say it, the answer is always test, measure, and what's right for you, using the framework of best practice, right? Using the framework of this council. And Lynn, I'm 100% on board. Thank more than you. What do you want to spend? What do you want to spend your time doing? Do you want to spend your time asking, or do you want to spend your time thanking and, sharing joy and talking about great things that happen? So build your program in that way. And I promise, as it evolves too, especially if it's somewhat new, right? As it evolves, it will take fewer solicitations, and you can spend more time thanking, reporting, sharing joy, right? And it'll balance. I hope that helped.
Yeah, it's great advice. We have thousands of sample communications on our website at donorrelations.com. So if you're looking for ideas of what to send out, we have tons of ideas for you, Jamie, of things that have been successful at other organizations. And here's what I will tell you about thanking your donors. You thank based on their behavior, not on the amount of money that they give.
Bingo.
So no matter what anybody tells you, a $50 donor is just as valuable as a $50,000 donor to your organization. Behavior, not amount. You don't treat somebody better because they give more. That doesn't mean they're a better person. You treat someone better based on their behavior. So again, as you're building your plan, first-time donors are your single most important population, regardless of amount. Because if you don't get them to give a second gift, then not good at all.
The best advice I ever received as a fundraising writer, and I still use it to this day, is when you're writing a pack, right? And a pack means the solicitation letter, the thank you letter, everything that goes in this whole, right? Write your thank you letter or your thank you email first. Start with gratitude. What is it you want to be telling the donor when they've made their gift? Start there. And then your appeal is so much easier to write because, or your case or whatever it is. And again, whether it's email or direct mail, whatever it may be, start with the thank you. And then you can fill in and come back to, oh, well, this is what I'm thanking for. This is what I'm asking them to do. And it makes you feel
what is your
warm and fuzzy.
desired outcome, right? Yep. What is your desired outcome? And because you're talking about persuasive writing there. So if you write with the end in mind, with the outcome in mind, then you'll be great, right? So we have another question. And this is an interesting question because I think the answer that you and I are going to give is probably different than what people think we're going to give. But this is from Claire, Ryman. Sorry, Claire. She says, we're fortunate they receive memorial donations like many nonprofits do. We've not figured out a good way to steward these donors as, of course, they give once. What would you suggest to steward these folks in order to retain them? Now, you and I are both giggling inside because fundraising is funny. And so I'll go first here and then I'll let Clay chime in, but I think he knows what I'm going to say.
I think I could quote it verbatim, but I'm anxious to hear you say it.
Don't even bother. They are not giving to you. They're giving through you, and they're not going to retain. The chance of retaining a memorial or honor donation is less than 7%. So you're killing yourself, and you're not getting any ROI on it. They do not retain unless they're already in your database. It's the same thing like when organizations have third-party donations. So Clay decides to run a 5K or walk a 5K or swim a 5K. And no, you could do it. We could do it. We could swim a 5K. I know we can.
Oh, we could do it. It was when you said choosing to do it.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Clay is forced to run a 5K for charity. And for the Penguins That Need Sweaters nonprofit that we both support. It's our fictional nonprofit when we don't want to use someone's name. So Sweaters for Penguins, as Rachel Muir reminds us. So he runs on behalf of Sweaters for Penguins. I really don't care about penguins. I mean, I do, but I'm giving to support Clay on his run. Right. I'm not giving because I care about penguins. I mean, if that's a side effect, great. And if also Clay can run the race in a sweater with a penguin on it, I'm even happier. However, I'm not giving the Sweaters for Penguins. I'm giving to Clay. Same thing. If someone I know has a tragedy or passes away or something to honor them, it's in lieu of flowers that I'm giving. So my friend's father recently passed away. He was 96 years old, great guy. And she said, if you want to make a difference, give to the hospice that took care of him. So I made a donation to the hospice that took care of him because I care about her and her father. I don't know anything about the East Iowa something something hospice, but they got my $100. Am I going to renew? No. So Claire, let's see if Clay disagrees with me at all.
I absolutely do not. I agree 100%. And number one, if you really want to invest in your memorial or in honor donors, if you really want to make them feel good about the gift that they're making for someone and have any chance of them affiliating with your organization, get the honor and memorial notification done well, right, and fast. I cannot tell you, and I'm big on, I'm a consultant and I'm a fundraiser, and so I'm biased and I look for these things. So I'm not the average person here, but I cannot tell you how many times I have made an honor memorial gift, or friends of mine have made an honor memorial gift, and I've had to notify the person, right? Get that process right, please. That is the number one thing. I guarantee you, if somebody makes an honor or memorial gift to you or a tribute gift, and you don't notify the person or the family that they're honoring or recognizing, you stand absolutely no chance with them, because they're going to remember that. Make that experience beautiful. Invest in that. Then you might stand a chance. Number two, what is the thank you to them? Right? So you've got the process to notify the honor memorial. What is the thank you to the honor memorial donor? Do not send them a generic thank you. I get that all the time too, right? Don't send them a generic thank you. Send them a specific thank you that says, "Dear Clay, thank you so much for honoring Jack Spratt with your gift. We have notified the family, and your gift is being used to do blah, 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 as well as honor Jack." If you do feel that there might be potential here, I'm big on, I was trained to hide. I'm that fundraiser, right, in the late 90s that we, oh no, we tiptoe and we don't. I'm big now on, let's talk to donors like people, and let's say, hey, I want to thank you again for your memorial gift. We would love to include you more in the work that we're doing. Would you like to hear more from us? And let them opt in or opt out. Because I bet you, if you've created a beautiful experience for them in that honor and memorial, they stand a likely chance that they might go, sure, you've been so good to me and so good to Jack. Absolutely. Take a look at, again, data. Look at some of your honor and memorial donors. One of the things that I learned in working in animal rescue is there are people that only give to you through honor and memorial. And when you look at their records and the gifts are coded right, you find that there are these donors who give regularly, constantly, consistently, but they only do it when they have someone to honor. Like for a while, in my family, whenever anyone we knew lost a pet, we made a gift to a certain organization, and we gave multiple times a year. And that organization kind of failed a little bit in trying to solicit us for a regular gift. And nobody ever came to us and said, but I have seen this done in other organizations very, very well, right? Nobody ever came to us and said, hey, we've noticed that you give regularly as an honor memorial. In fact, last year you donated over X amount and, had this kind of impact. Would you be open to a discussion about how you can give regularly and also on, things like that? So be open with them. If you do feel there's value in investing, make it exquisite, but above all, get that honor and recognition done perfectly.
Yeah, I totally
is that a fair add-on to what you said?
Yeah,
Lynn?
I love the yes and, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, to me, that's the idea there. But again, just remember that part of our all donors are precious beings, but part of our efforts in stewardship and donor relations is identifying the right ROI. Where are you putting your resources, your very limited resources, and what does that look like? And so make sure that if you're going to do an effort, there's return on their effort in donor retention, in dollars. this is a business that we are running, and just because it's a nonprofit business doesn't mean it's not a business. And so you really want to be mindful there of doing, I would rather have you build an entire program around first-time donors than around that. So yeah. And so they're a hospice, Clay, so that fits well with them.
And Claire, I love hospice work. Back in the day, I did a number of capital campaigns for hospices, and it's beautiful, gorgeous, lovely work. But boy, those honor memorial donors, they're tough. It's a tough thing. And you sound like, I can tell from your comments, you sound like a lovely person, and I'm sure that is coming across in what you do. And thank you for doing that important work, because hospice is beautiful.
You don't know that you want them or need them until you need them.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So,
yay.
Jamie has another question. She says, our CRM has the ability to tie email addresses to social media accounts. That's interesting, because I've not heard of that. Is it a privacy issue if we thank people for gifts on their social media without their permission? So the key there is without their permission. So giving days are upon us, like we've been chatting about. And today, when I made a gift to the giving day, it said, what is your social media handle? We'd love to thank you. And I put it right on the giving form. That's, to me, the best way. If somebody just Googled me, they would find my social media, but I really haven't given you permission to post about my giving behavior on my social. And everybody uses their social for different things. So I think you have to be careful there. Doing anything without donor consent that might reveal. So for example, maybe I'm hiding my giving from my spouse or partner or from the community that I live in. Certainly you're never going to post a dollar amount, because that is just tacky, but tacky is the only word I have for it. But you just want to be mindful. Now, when it comes to thanking on social, my favorite group of donors to thank on social are corporate donors. Corporate donors, I don't always have to get permission, but it's nice to get permission. But, if Lowe's and Home Depot give you some goods for your capital build, they love the social responsibility tagging that you're doing with them, because it's raising their brand as they're affiliated with you. But in terms of individuals, I think that permission is the better part of valor there. Discretion is the better part of valor. Permission. Valor. Yes.
Valor. Better part.
What if somebody, if you get to a charity and they found you on social and posted about it?
If they posted about it, there needs to be permission to do so. So if you shared on your nonprofit social page, hey, thanks, Clay, for the donation. If I haven't checked something, and there's a number of giving pages, I can think of 3 platforms off the top of my head that allow this, right? When they make a donation, to check the box and say, yes, you can share it. I'm on a donor scroll, blah, 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 right? Great. But I reread Jamie's question, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, or I don't know. Is it a privacy issue if we thank people for gifts on their social media without permission? So the way I read that is, if a donor comes, and because in prospect research, prospect development, wealth screening, all of this, and many CRMs do it. If you have an email address, you can very often find the social media account. Sure. So, and that's, fine and available. It's publicly available information, absolutely available in that. But if somebody makes a gift to you and you have their email address, and then you go to their social media and post on their page, hey, thank you for the donation, I don't know that that is necessarily an ethical issue. I don't know for sure. Check your local listings if that violates any specific opt-ins or opt-outs, but I think it's a little weird, to be honest. It's a nice touch. Like, I love the thinking behind it, but like, think of if those of you that have LinkedIn accounts, think of all the solicitations and stuff that you get via LinkedIn. Like, when people pop in and say, hey, I see you're in this industry and I want to, I can do this, this, and this, and this, and how irritating that is. I kind of feel like the same way. Like, okay, I'm glad you know something about me, but I'd be careful on that one. I would, and stick to the channel that they've given you versus trying to find a channel that they might not have said, contact me that way.
And the other way is, everybody asks for my phone number, but so few charities text me to say thank you. And I'm like, you guys, yeah, thank them via DM or private chat. That would be great.
I think
But
that's fine. I think DM's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, totally fine. But there's so many ways
Yeah.
you could thank me. Text me. Say,
I
hey.
support so many organizations that my spouse doesn't even know about, and that I would never ever tell him. Oh wait, he's in the audience, isn't he?
He's
Oh,
there.
oops.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
Did you
Sorry
make it
about
home okay in the snow? Apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, but as Lynn said earlier, same kind of situation. Maybe people don't want that known. DM, sure, yeah.
And also it depends again, and it shouldn't, but some nonprofits to some audiences, like, so for example, and I don't care, but I give to Planned Parenthood, and you come and post on my social media, thanks for your donation to Planned Parenthood of Oklahoma City. There might be people who are like, you did what? And I'll be like, I
Right.
did, but I don't want to start that argument
I don't need
today
I
on
don't
Facebook.
need the rest of my
So
family getting on me for, like, I don't want to have that discussion.
my
Right.
family would be like,
Yeah.
yay, because I have 3 family members, but I just don't feel like dealing with
Mm-mm.
anything like that. And again, also the channel matters. So, my LinkedIn is professional time. And so also you have to know, who you're posting about and where. So I
Mm-hmm.
just, again, be discreet, but just text me. I am still astonished that in 2023, how many gifts I give and people don't pick up a phone, or you can text from a computer screen and say, thank you. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, I get the
Yeah.
standard stock email, I get the templated
Yeah.
email. I just gave and got one. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, womp, womp. There's nothing left on the vine. So, Clay,
Yeah.
what is the most powerful thank you that you received from a nonprofit in the last year or two?
Um,
What's the best one you've gotten recently?
am I still here?
Yep.
Okay, it looked like I froze for a second. I'm sad that I have to stop and think. The one that stands out to me, and it's in my swipe file, otherwise I'd pull it out, is an organization here in town. Oh, good. Yeah, this goes back to Claire's question. It's an organization here in town that I gave to at year end, in honor of a good friend of mine who is their board chair.
Okay.
And I, didn't expect a whole lot. I like the organization; they do good work, but it's not high on my philanthropic priorities. Um, and they sent me, and it was not a huge donation. And I know the organization, so I know what kind of level of gifts they get from individuals. And I got a very warm and lovely thank you note, typed, hand signed by someone. It had the CEO's name on it. I don't know if she actually signed it or not. But anyway, it also included a thank you note from a child that they serve. So it's a literacy organization. And as part, what I learned from the letter and the insert was, as part of their literacy programs in helping kids read and write, they do a segment, a session on writing thank you notes, right? For kids, for little kids in schools. And I got this, badly written, horrible, but they reproduced it in a way that it looked like. You had to look a little closely because I know printing, and it clearly was copied. But first glance, it looked like I had received a handwritten note from a kid. And I talked to the chief development officer there later on, and she goes, "It costs us nothing to produce those." Right.
Yeah.
And we get the parents' permission and the kids' permission, and we have it, we have them printed, and we've got 15 different ones, and we just insert it into every thank you letter, and it's not personalized. But it was just lovely. It just that moment of opening the envelope and seeing that cute little kid handwriting next to this, wow, you really made a difference. Thanks so much. And they got the honor memorial, right, in honor of your friend Chad. It just, the whole thing was just lovely. And I have, because of that, have given at year end every year in honor of him. As long as he's the board chair, I'll continue to do so. It was just lovely.
Yeah. I love that idea. I think that, a lot of us struggle with how are we respectful of beneficiaries
Mm-hmm.
and not forcing them to give gratitude to donors. And those of us in higher ed have real issues around students and thank you notes and
Mm-hmm.
this kind of additional labor for having a need or things like that. But when you're talking about teaching a young person life lessons, because we can all use the power of a thank you note. Our friend Jennifer Richwine wrote this great book called With Gratitude, and it's this simple
Mm-hmm.
little tome on how to write a good thank you note,
Mm-hmm.
and so I love that they're teaching children a life skill, but not forcing them to be
Mm-hmm.
grateful to donors, right? So I love that combo of life lesson and practical takeaway
Mm-hmm.
that they can use. I mean, I think so many times when I receive certain um, standardized thank yous or standardized documents, I'm always like, wow, they really missed an opportunity to. I'm looking over at my file of paper I brought back from
And
my last round of mail, and I'm like, gosh, they missed an opportunity to really get in on using their like brand better. Do you know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
making it more relevant to, you know. So here's an example. Now, this is an organization I love. I obviously give to them a lot. There's my lovely giving, but it's Paws with a Cause, my one of my favorite dog charities, and they train service animals. But this is my um, this is my kind of year-end giving statement. Here's all I give monthly, and it's really interesting because there's really lovely language in here that says, "Because of you,
Mm-hmm.
the children with autism we support have a chance to flourish," and it talks about Newman the dog and Malachi and how he got to join his 4-H club because he had Newman by his side.
Oh,
And I know, right? What it doesn't have is a dog anywhere.
I know. I want a picture.
I need, like give me the photo of Newton and Malachi, or at least give me Newton. I mean the dog. Like, so I mean, and I get it,
Ooh.
it's an official tax statement and things like that. But I sure would have liked it. It would have been an enhancement. So using your mission helps make it stand out as well from all the other, what I mean, like boring old things that I get.
Lynn,
Um,
can I ask you a question? Because
sure,
I'm kind of curious if our sort of different worlds see this a little differently,
sure.
but especially in social service organizations, one of the things that I always say is, in general, right? No donor cares about your organization. That's not what brings them to you. What
No,
brings them
it's the
to you is they
people.
care about the beneficiary.
Yeah, the people.
They care about your mission, right? The
Yes.
more we can connect donors to the beneficiary, the more they're going to build loyalty to your organization,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But there's 30 different animal rescues in the town that I live in.
I, yeah.
And donors choose. Well, why do they choose an organization, a specific organization? When you can choose from 30 that cater to the same population of homeless pets, why would you choose one? Well, it's because that one makes you feel special. It's still caring about the beneficiary. It's just that loyalty and affinity to the organization comes from the experience they've had with you. But at the end of the day, every donor starts with caring about the beneficiary, the impact, the mission. Is that fair? Is that true? The one place where I'd say this is a little tricky is in the arts, performing arts and visual arts, because the beneficiary is often me, right? As a
Right.
donor, right? And the community at large, and it's a little bit harder. So, they like your museum, they like your performing arts because of what you produce. So then there's different techniques and tricks. They're fundamentally the same. We just talk about it a little differently. But anyway.
Yeah, I think again, it's really interesting to me. Donor motivation, all of those issues. in terms of, why we're communicating, what we're communicating with, how we're communicating with folks. So again, all of this is really interesting information too. And also what's interesting about my old manila folder over there is all my gifts have been given online.
Yeah.
But I got a letter in the mail, and I don't want a letter in the mail because now I have to scan it and take photos of it to make it digital for my taxes. So,
but no, a consultant told me I should always do, a hand printed letter, right? Even if they give online.
Other than for work, when's the last time you sent a letter?
I'm a bad person to ask that because pens and stacks of stationery. So there's me.
I write notes. I'm talking about a letter, like a typed out letter.
I was at my doctor's office earlier, as you know, today, and they got held up, and I thought of you, and I laughed. They got held up with stuff in the office because they were waiting on a fax.
No.
I know. I'm like, guys, it is 2023, and you're held up delivering. Okay, anyway.
That's the insurance companies, I bet.
Oof.
Because the insurance companies still fax things.
I know.
Super weird. So
It's
until I moved overseas, I thought that all insurance companies used fax machines and paper and everything. And now I live overseas, and how like in the United States, and sorry Canadians for this aside, but you carry around your insurance card like your driver's license, like you have to have it, and God forbid you go home without it or go to the doctor without it, and they're like, we need your insurance card. I don't have an insurance card here. They sent you a photo, like a PDF, a little card, like an online download card, basically. And they're like, once you give that number to your provider in your pharmacy, it's all in the system. And you don't have to present it every time the way you do at Walgreens and stuff. And so I've never had to fax anything. My insurance company takes everything digital. The doctor does all the prescriptions digital. Like, it's like I'm living in the future.
What is ACH and direct transfer like there in the islands?
Oh, so that's the other thing.
We are so behind.
So, for example, I have a lot of local businesses that I'm like, oh, well, I need a charcuterie platter for my boat trip next Friday. And she's like, okay, I'll send you the invoice. And then they send you their bank account number and what bank. And you go on your app and you just wire them the money and you don't get charged or anything. It's just, I'll transfer you. Everybody, because we don't have Venmo here, but everything is done through the banking industry, all done through ACH, right? Meanwhile, in America, I said to somebody, oh, well, I'll pay you via ACH. And they're like, well, I'm not going to give you my bank account and routing number. I'm like, I can't do anything with it except deposit money.
Right.
I can't withdraw. So like here, like we'll go to the other side of the island for a weekend or share a boat. And somebody will say, oh, I don't have any cash on me. Okay, I'll send you my Butterfield number on WhatsApp. And then you send them $40. My rent is paid that way, my utilities. So it's all ACH and all in the future here.
And the benefit to nonprofits, if you make ACH, I mean, go back to the discussion about PayPal, the benefit to nonprofits, if you make ACH and direct transfer an option on your giving page, there's no fees.
None.
You don't have to pay that credit card processing fee and the additional fee. I mean, especially for recurring donors, and most of our giving platforms, you don't see it. They go in, they enter their information on the private secure processor. You never see the bank account information, and it just does. It does its thing.
Interesting. So I just booked my trip to Italy because I'm doing the Festival of Fundraising.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I'm doing the Festival of Fundraising. And so when I first went there, I had to adjust my expectations because Italian fundraising, they get most of their money via ACH.
Yep.
So It's very different than checks and direct mail. Whereas when you go to New Zealand, one of their banks was like, we're going to shut down accepting checks. And that would have destroyed some of their nonprofits in New Zealand. So again, this is why I go places and ask them about fundraising, because you learn all the stuff when you talk about it globally.
Yep. I love talking with what's the word? What am I looking for? Not collaborators, but colleagues
across the world,
the UK and EU, and especially Scandinavian colleagues who, like, when you talk about process and systems and CRMs and stuff, and you say the phrase, right, well, I have to enter checks, or they're behind on entering checks, they just go, wait, what? Because it is now so foreign to them that people would still write checks. And I realize it's a cultural thing, and it's an age thing here, and it's still seen as a secure thing.
Technology too. Like, we were the last country to get tap cards.
Yeah.
Whereas everywhere in Asia, you tap.
Yeah.
Like when you want to buy something, you just tap everywhere. And so again, this is what I love about
digital wallets. I mean,
yeah. Well, and so there are people that work for charities, and they will stand outside of public places and have you tap. And so we, when we were in New York City in November, we went and saw the Book of Mormon. Great show. And at the end, they were raising money for Broadway Cares. And you tapped your card on the way out. You said how much, and you tapped your card. The only problem was they didn't collect any contact information, not an email, not a cell phone. So, I mean, they're making money in terms of that, but they're not. I would follow up with a donation, you know what I mean? And communication. And I don't have that opportunity because I just tapped my card.
I think one of the fundamental themes that we're saying here is we're in a world where give donors the control and the options of what they want, right?
Yeah.
Like as simple as that. It would take a little more time. It would be a little bit harder. But for everybody that taps their card with Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, right? Would you like to share your email address while you're here?
I can enter my cell phone really fast.
Right, exactly. So, something, because I don't know. I think we get bogged down in our systems, and I think we get bogged down and worried about bothering people. But go back to that channel discussion. Kendra, bless you. Thank you for doing that. Go back to that question about channel. I'm one of those guys. I am still that way. I have not opted into paperless for my bills because my brain just needs the receipt of the bill every month to remind me to pay it. Though Hugh Jackman is hard to refuse, indeed. I'm gonna break out into the Music Man any second now.
No, so don't do it. It's not that funny.
Well, Mike will get the joy of it then after we're done here. Right. I like that. That's how my brain works. And I think what we're saying is give donors the option. If somebody says to you, send me mail, then send them mail. If somebody says to you, please don't send me any mail, don't send the mail. When Lynn Wester makes a donation and says, I don't want mail, I don't want swag, just, right, then don't. So let's give our donors a little more control of the experience that they're having as much as our systems and processes will allow. Is that fair?
Yes. So we're wrapping up today. Clay and I have announced Fundraising is Funny is coming mid-March. We're very excited. But as always, wanted to give gratitude to Clay for sharing his time, which we know is valuable, his expertise, his humor, his values with everyone. And in March, we are probably going to share time with our friends at Bloomerang, who helped sponsor the podcast. So as always, if you need anything, you can reach us at info@donorrelations.com. And we will see you all soon. Thanks again, Clay, for coming and hanging out for an hour. I'm sure it was difficult.
I learned from you and your folks. Thank you for having me and let me be a part of this.
Have a good one, everybody.
Take care, everybody.